It's good to see you guys. Being able to look at the tape from Saturday, a lot of good. There's a fair amount of correction, though. I think I can look at perimeter blocking and execution on offense and on defense, doing your 111th, not going outside of a job assignment. Probably too many busts on that side of the ball. I think special teams really working hard to get big plays in the return game. I think that is something that can be and should be a big part of our game. But really outside of those things, just so many positives. Really proud of the team, proud of the coaches. I think coming off the bye, working to get into a rhythm of practice where guys are really intentional about bringing their best day in, day out. I think, we always look for really exceptional things, and it's really doing the unexceptional in an exceptional way, every day, day by day. And to get back in the groove of that, I think was really what led to Saturday. And so, got another great opponent coming up. Heard the news like you guys did yesterday with Coach Patterson. My heart breaks for him. I can remember coming up as a young coach and finding kind of bootleg videos of Coach Patterson putting in a defense. And, there's like a 5-tape series somehow that was filmed, and I've got 2 tapes. And I'm trying to find like where the other tapes are at. And, I had my Hotmail account and trying to find people that have this and have that and what is this coverage that he's talking about. And, I can remember when after the Rose Bowl game when Coach Glasgow's talking about defense and it's like a Nike, it's like something you have to pay money to get into. And so didn't have any money. You have to asking my mom for money so that I can pay, so I can listen to Coach talk about their defense. And so it's just, a lot of memories of learning ball and learning teaching methods and, what to do and what not to do. And so it's a sad day. I think as a coach, you don't ever want to see it. It's part of it. I think it always reminds you of when you're grown people and you're really kind of pouring into becoming a better version of yourself, and then you have to measure that versus, being a performer. I think the reality sets in. It's difficult to accept still. With that, take any questions you guys got.
Coach Dave, the first team. How would you expect TCU to react coming into Saturday?
I think they're going to be very motivated. I think there's a rivalry to start. I think, I think they will. Their pieces are there. The talent is there. In watching the tape, it's been a little off here, a little off there. We talking about doing 111th. There's 8 guys, 9 guys doing this, and then the 2 guys are not, and whatever it is, and then they get hit. There's things like that show on tape, and it's not it is not something that is hard to diagnose. I think they're really close. And so I think for them to have a spark, for them to rally, which I would anticipate they're going to do, makes it that tougher of a game.
Coach, when you're that first team to play an interim coach and you don't have any tape with him being the head coach, is there any sort of wild card factor to that, or do teams usually look kind of similar because it's such a quick change?
It's a good question. I think, there'll be a different play caller, though he's called it before. I think there's going to be a fair amount of similar things on that side of it. I think offensively, I think there is a pretty strong history of an attack there, a lot of deep roots, and so we're going to go off of that. But I think anytime there is that change, you want to leave open the ability to adjust, and so to give yourself a way out or a curveball or a changeup to kind of what their main stuff is.
Dave, the other day, a lot of your pass breakups seemed like they were a game of inches with the ball in the air, and guy, makes a play at the last minute. How much of that is technique that you guys have coached and worked on in practice, and how much of that is just athletes being athletes and making plays?
I think a lot of it is athletes. I think we've got guys that have got great instinct and great ball skills. I think the last 2 years, just speaking for me, but you go back previous to that in terms of interceptions and deflections and bad balls and all that, I think are way strong. Whether you're talking the line of scrimmage or you're talking in the back end like this right here, but there is a knack for playing the ball here at Baylor, and so we're fortunate. I'm fortunate to be a part of it, and I think defensively we do make a point of it and we coach it, but I think a lot of it's there, and so coupled on top of or added to would be the zone coverages that we play. So very, very predominantly zone, and a lot of vision, and it's stressed, and that's really kind of where we're coming from to start with. And I think you go back to last year, probably a little bit more bracket, maybe a little bit more tighter coverage at times. This year, much more zone, and so it aids in making plays on the ball down the field.
Dave, two early interceptions for Gary on Saturday. Did the Texas defense throw you something different early?
There was on our slot sets, there was a palms coverage to the twin sides. So slot would be like a nub, so it'd be like one tight end or a wing tight end with another tight end over there, like a wing, and then all the receivers on the other side. So tight ends on this side, receivers on that side. So to those receivers' side, the corner and the safety both keyed the number 2 receiver over there. If he ran an out, the corner hardened his feet and the safety went over the top of one. That's not something they had really shown. That was a opponent scout. That was a bye week. That was that. And so I think there was a few plays that were kind of bang plays, and I think that probably got into Gary's thought process. And I think the other piece too would be some of the drop 8 that we were seeing with, we run like a 3-go where number 1 receivers, if they win routes, they're taking the top off. If guys are on top, they kind of sit it down, and then your RJ, in the slot has a middle read. If there's a post safety, we'll take it under. If the middle of the field's open, he'll work towards the middle of the field. And they were getting a lot of depth with their drop 8 and getting underneath. And so really the way that they were taking away windows, which has been a big facet of our throwing game, I think got in his thought process too. Really, I think very good to see Gary, Sean, Jeff all take that in stride, all say, hey, this is what happened. This is why it happened. Here's what we can do better, technique-wise. Here's what we can do better, play call-wise, formation-wise. It was just the facts, man, And so I think from that, with that approach, we were able to get by all the emotion and the feeling this and feeling that to get to the antidote, and it was good that we did it.
Announcers on Saturday described your team as humble with an edge. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on that phrase? Do you like it?
Yeah. I think it's been I think it has been a work in progress. I think for our players to let their play do the talking, for our players to work as a team, and to if things aren't coming to me or if things aren't working my way, right, here's how I can help my teammates, and here's how I can be an asset to this team victory. Those are all things that I think have been kind of a work in progress, and I think we're still working towards that. I think one of the things that gets in the way of that, or one of the things that forces us to get in our own way, is being on the road in a hostile environment. And so, I think that's the next step for us for sure. Last time out did not play up to standard, and so I think for this team to continue to grow and to be on that type of approach, daily, I think is what's been the difference.
Is there anything you learned from the OSU game and that atmosphere that now, knowing you're going into probably another hostile situation, that you're focusing on this week?
Yeah, I think there's individual guys. I think I think focusing on a daily process so that we get the best out of, for example, today, Tell the Truth Monday. Let's make this be the best Tell the Truth Monday we can. And then once we get into, Competition Tuesday and Turnover Wednesday and all of it, the addition of sound, probably louder and more focused on the offense would be one. But I think, it's deeper than that, though. I think it's more our individual players, guys that can be affected. Pressure creates abnormal behavior. And so guys that have been to a spot know what it feels like. Maybe you know how you get there, right? The awareness of being there, and something, just the ability to kind of snap out of it and get back out of it. And then teammates that can see guys that can, we're losing them for a second. Let's bring them back. Let's get them back. And I think, when there's pressure and stuff, you tighten up. Maybe some guys do. Maybe with pressure, certain guys try to make every play. Maybe with pressure, guys start focusing on stuff that they can't control, outside of maybe just their lane. They're focused on, lanes that are on the outside of it all. And so each guy's different, and so they've been through that space, and they know, kind of where they fit in that. So I think the awareness is way strong. And I think for us as coaches, finally, the ability to really keep it simple and to do simple better allows guys to focus on that inside battle as well as the outside one.
Dave, kind of on that note, being in the DFW area, what kind of opportunity is this for Baylor fans to show up and support you guys in an away environment?
It'd be great. I think we've, I know what that feels like. From just past history. When you get to where you want to be, and it takes a lot of work to do it. And I think being on teams in the past that was fortunate to be there and to enjoy the heavy lifting of those that have come before. And so when you're on certain teams like that and you're on the road, man, you travel, and you've got your contingent, and they're loud and they back you up, and you feel like you've got reinforcements. And so I think anytime that you can build or work towards that ideal, it'd be good for us.
Your first season here last year, did you grasp pretty quickly how intense this rivalry is?
Yes. Yeah. I think from, I look at last year really going into the game and then right after the game, the TCU coaches struck me as just football junkies, football guys. And they're very smart in their attack. They get it. They had us figured out. They were a step ahead. Of me, And I thought they had a really good plan, and you could tell this. You could feel it on the field, but you could see it on the tape of stuff was worked out. It was thought through, and so I was very impressed by them. And then, player-wise, you could feel that energy too. And so, to go to their place with, what's just transpired and just the whole environment there, I know will be different.
Coach, in this landscape where it seems like you have to face a quote-unquote dual-threat quarterback every week, what still allows Max Duggan to be unique and stand out in the way that he is able to run?
Yeah, he has a sense. He's a football player, and so, he's hooked up right in terms of reading coverages, in terms of feeling pressure in the pocket, in terms of his instinct to move around in the pocket. and then either take the grass or work the scramble drill. And he's pretty good at it, you know. And I think, you know, there is a grittiness and a toughness that I know bleeds into their team that I think is the main piece that you see. And so very impressed by him.
Dave, with a lot of high-caliber recruits in Waco on Saturday, you get the atmosphere, and then obviously the game went well for you guys. What did that show those high schoolers who were in attendance?
Yeah, it was really good to have them. You know, I was able to at the end, you know, spend some time with some folks, some parents, and that. And so, you know, they had mentioned just how they were, you know, accepted here, how they were seen here and valued here. And I think, you know, that's the goal and the ideal coming in, is that, you know, to see the person and to, you know, outside of coaches and players and all that, right? It's people, you know, and knowing kind of their story and really spending time with the recruit and their families. I think that's something that you feel, and I think, you know, and especially nowadays, we're just recruiting in general, just with just all of the whether it's NIL or just, you know, social media and all of it. I think all that all has its place, but I think connection, being seen, being heard, being valued, right, and then just family. I think that's stronger, and I feel like, you know, Baylor football and Baylor athletics and Baylor University put that on display.
Dave, as good as Jalen was last year, Pitre, is he playing at a different level maybe this year?
He has, I think he has a more collected sense about him. I think he's able to pace himself throughout the week more. I think he has a good feel for the rhythm of what we're asking for. You know, I think Jalen has a fire burning inside of him. And so I think, you know, with guys like that, you know, it's the ability to kind of control that. And, you know, I think he's doing that now. And so when it is, you know, be here now mindset and practice is coming up, he's able to, you know, ignite. And I think the same for games and the same for big-time moments. I think the other piece of growth for him has been leadership. I think it's been some, you know, so he came from scrapping, fighting, right? Hey, see me, I'm here. Don't forget about me. You know, look at me. And so I know what that is like. And so to fight that way and to grind like that, and then, you know, almost immediately, you know, be looked at as a leader and be looked at as, hey, you know, coming from me, you know, hey, let's help with the leadership of this team. I think it speaks very highly of him to take on that description and own it and grow into it. And so proud of Jalen. I think, you know, on the field, off the field, we're blessed to have him.
Joey McGuire's name keeps coming up with these coaching vacancies.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep that from becoming a distraction, and what do you think he could bring to a team when his chance finally arrives?
Yeah, I'm really impressed with Joey and have been since I've known him. I first met Joey, I think I was at Dallas Cowboys visiting Rod Marinelli, and Rod was the DC at the Cowboys at the time, was a Cal Lutheran graduate where I went to school, and as a I was at LSU at the time, so I was stopping by for a morning, and you know, Joey was there, and so was able to kind of see him in, you know, throughout hallways and stuff there, and I think we ate lunch together, and just was way impressed with him. And, you know, I thought for a minute like he worked there, because he was, to the way he's talking to everybody there. And so, you could see all that right away. And so just being here with him and just his ability to help with our team and with recruiting and with the high school coaches in the state is a great value. And, I'm way supportive of Joey.
Dave, it's November 1st, and you guys are right in the thick of the Big 12 championship race. Is that something you throw out there to the team and talk about at all, or is that just taboo?
Yeah, no, I think it's getting into a rhythm. I think it's winning the day. I think anything outside of that, you risk, thinking about things that you really can't control. And I go back to last week, coming off the bye, we really attacked it. There were some days I felt were, hey, everyone's in it, man. Everyone's trying. It just doesn't feel like we're there yet, based upon where we were in that 2-week stretch, West Virginia, BYU, prior to the bye. And that was about as good a rhythm as I can remember. Probably go back for me in 2019. And so, we did not have that last week. We were trying to get it. I don't think it was any fault of anyone. I think, if anything, it was my fault for, how the time off probably we gave for the bye week. And so, it got better as the week went on. But that feeling of like, hey, man, everyone's trying, we're a little bit disconnected, I felt in the first half of the game we just played. And so I think the ability to play each day to its and bring our best, bring our standard. I think it's crazy how a lot of stuff will come to you if that's the case.
Dave, you guys have shut down 2 really good backs the last couple games. What's happening there with the run defense?
I think the D-line, and I give Meatball, I give Dennis Johnson a lot of credit. I think it's been a journey for him. And then Ron Roberts has done a great job. I've learned so much from Ron, and Ron's kind of taken, it's hard to be, it's probably hard just from, it's hard to be a defensive coordinator probably when, the head coach is a defensive guy. And so Ron has done that, has handled all that amazingly. And we're blessed to have both those guys. And they have grinded along with our players, just taking on different job description, man. Change is difficult, especially when, you're pass rushing to play the run, and now you play the run to get the opportunity to rush the passer. I think that's a big change. There's a lot inherent in all that, and the buy-in, the work, the grinding has got it to where, we're winning the line of scrimmage.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.